Hello children, in this video we are going to learn about errors in the division of two quantities, right? Now delta A, delta B are the errors in the measured quantity A and B. Z is the division, resultant. If you divide, the resultant value will be Z. So division or quotient of two quantities. Z is equal to A by B, and already you know what is delta Z. It is the error in Z quantity, right? The first measured value A is equal to A plus or minus delta A, and the second measured value is B equal to B plus or minus delta B. Okay, now we have to divide these two quantity. So the resultant will be Z plus or minus. So the resultant will be Z plus or minus delta Z is equal to divide these two quantities. So what will you get? A plus or minus delta A divided by B plus or minus delta B. Right? Now in this term you take A out, and in the denominator you take commonly B out. So what will you get? Z plus or minus delta Z is equal to, if you take A out, what will you get? 1 plus or minus delta A by A. Same way, if you take B here out, you will get 1 plus or minus delta B by B. Right children? Now what you can do is you take this term also to the numerator. So Z plus or minus delta Z is equal to A into 1 plus or minus delta A by A. You take this denominator term to the numerator. Okay. So what will you do? This is power 1. If it goes to the numerator, it will become minus 1. Delta B by B power minus 1. Shall we write A by B as Z children? Delta Z is equal to Z. Already you know that A by B is, look here, A by B is Z. Already have written A by B is Z. So here A by B can be written as Z into 1 plus or minus delta A by A into 1 plus or minus delta B by B power 1. What you can do is, this term is very much less than 1, right? In that case, you can apply binomial theorem to this. Okay, so let me apply binomial theorem. When do you apply binomial theorem children? When x is very much less than 1. Okay, when x is less than 1, by binomial theorem 1 plus x power n can be written as 1 plus nx. So for this term, okay, for this term you are applying binomial theorem. Shall we apply now? So what is that? 1 plus or minus delta b by b power minus 1. Okay, so 1 plus, instead of n is here minus 1, right? So minus 1, x is, this term is x. This term will be n and this term will be x. So what will you get? Delta b by b. So you can write it as 1 plus into minus is minus. Okay. So delta b by b. So if you apply binomial theorem for this, you will get this. Okay. So Z plus or minus delta Z is equal to Z into, write as such, 1 plus or minus delta A by A. For this term you have applied binomial theorem, and what did you get? 1 delta B by B. Okay. Now what you can do is divide both the sides by, divide both sides by Z. Okay, you divide both the sides by Z. So if you divide by Z, what will you get? Plus or minus delta Z by Z by Z. Okay, these two terms write as such. Delta A by A into 1 delta minus plus. Now you know that this will be 1. Okay, this will be 1. So 1 plus or minus delta Z by Z is equal to, this is 1. And here what you can do is, you have to remove bracket children. Okay, Now you take these two terms and you can multiply with 1. Understand what I say? Multiply 1. You take this one, multiply with these terms, and then you multiply this with these two first terms. So 1 into 1 is 1. If you multiply these two, you will get plus or minus delta A by A. Okay, and in the second part, what you can do? Multiply these two terms. You have to multiply this with this. Just remove the bracket. Here you will get minus plus. If you multiply, you will get delta B by B. If you multiply this two, you will get delta A by A into delta B by B. Already we have applied a rule here. What is that? These two quantities are very small. Okay. These fractional errors are very small. So what will you do? Therefore can be neglected. Okay, you can neglect. So if you neglect and write, what will you get? 1 plus or minus delta Z by Z is equal to 1 plus or minus delta A by A minus plus delta B by B. You have neglected this term. Okay, so you can cancel these two, right? These two terms can be cancelled. So what is left out? Delta Z by Z is equal to delta A by A plus delta, you take the plus minus term out commonly. So you will get this. Otherwise you can write it as delta Z by Z is equal to delta A by A. I think we got the same answer while finding the errors in product of two vectors also. Right? So what does it mean? The maximum fractional error in the quotient of two quantities is equal to sum of their individual fractional errors. Okay, so based on this we will work out a problem, children. Using this formula we will work out a problem now. Okay. Children, this is the example problem. Okay, this is the example problem 1.8. So what is given is the voltage. Now here the letter V represent voltage. Voltage across a wire V is equal to 100 plus or minus 5 volt with error. Okay, voltage with error. Next, I, current is given. The current value I, it is equal to 10 plus or minus 0.2 ampere. You have to find resistance. Okay, you already have learnt Ohm's law. So R, V is equal to IR. If you want to find out R, that is nothing but V by I. So you are going to apply quotient rule now. Okay, so what will you do? Shall we find R is equal to V by I? What is V, children? 100 by 10. R is 100 by 10. That is nothing but 10 ohm. R value is 10 ohm. Okay, now we will apply this formula, this product rule formula. That is this formula you can apply. Delta Z by Z equal to delta A by A plus delta B by B. That formula. For this case, delta R by R is equal to delta V by V plus delta I by I. Right? So our aim is finding delta R, and then hence the R. Delta R is equal to, divide by what is R value you are getting? 10, right? R is 10. So instead of this R I am substituting 10. What is delta V, children? Delta V is 5. Delta V by V. So 5 by 100. Okay. So what will you write here? 5 by 100 plus, what is delta I by I? What is delta I by I? Here you can see delta I by I. 0.2 divided by 10. This is delta I and this is I. Okay. So 0.2 divided by how much? 10. So delta R by 10 is equal to, what is 5 by 2, children? See, V is 100, not 10. right? V is 100, that is not 10. So what is 5 by 100? It is nothing but, if you cancel, what you get? 0.05. 120. 1 by 20 is 0.05 plus 0.2 by 10. That is nothing but 0.02. Okay, so what is delta r? Delta r, if you want, you can delta r by 10 is equal to, if you add this, you will get 0.07, right? Therefore delta r, you can cross multiply 0.07 into 10, that is nothing but 0.7, right? So what is delta r, children? Delta r is 0.7, okay, ohm. So final, therefore resistance with error, what will you get? Resistance is equal to, resistance R is equal to, what is that R value we got? 10. R is 10 and the error value delta R is 0.7. So 10 plus or minus 0.7 ohm. This is the final answer. Okay, so I hope you understood how to find out how to apply the quotient rule. Thank you, children.